morning, good evening, everyone. This is Luda Kopikina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate news essential, important, and optional. Today, I have Ankash, Tim, and Paul, our regular wonderful crew of analysts, and we're going to review 7 articles for you. The articles are at gaiinsights.com/articles. Please comment and as you follow along and tell us whether you like or don't like our ratings and why. Let's proceed to the first article. And tell us whether you like.
Sure, thanks, Luda. So the first one that we have for today comes from OpenAI and was announced as part of OpenAI's Developer Day. So they have introduced an agent builder called Agent Kit.
Yes, that's a very interesting entry. What do you think about this, Tim?
Well, I think there's a lot in here. The Developer Day is like Apple's Developer Day. They tend to do a lot of announcements. So this contains a number of different things. It's to a certain extent catch up to what they've seen in the market from people like Replit, Lovable, and others who have graphical design capabilities to build agents. And agents in general are the hot topic right now. So this is a fairly comprehensive suite of capabilities. I would rate this essential. This is the #1 brand in the marketplace with 800 million weekly users. So I think you got to pay attention. And there are some interesting things here. The agent builder itself is very much like an N8N or a Lovable. It's a graphical kind of drag and drop design to build yourself agents with conversational stuff built in. So pretty interesting, and certainly will give them a tool to compete with these other companies that are already out there making a lot of money and a lot of noise. So that's what that's about. There are also around it several developer kinds of tools, API toolkits. There are some administrative registries. There's an evaluation toolkit, which looks really good. Again, these are product announcements, so normally we wouldn't give so much attention to a product announcement except that it's OpenAI. So I can't speak to the quality of these things, but the fact that they have a guardrail kit, an evaluation kit, an administrative console, these are all important things if you're really going to scale these agents into production. So a fairly comprehensive set of things. They also are creating and certainly brilliant business strategy, I believe. We'll see how it works out technically and how many people join, but I think most people will. An app embedding, I will call it for lack of a better thing, capability, and we have another whole article on this. But on the developer side, what it means is developers of applications can embed their applications within ChatGPT. So within a ChatGPT session, you are able to connect with these applications just by conversation, by asking Zillow to do something or Spotify to do something. And there's a developer's toolkit that's based on the MCP, which is the protocol designed and promoted by Anthropic, but a lot of people are using for connecting agents and using SDKs in a standardized way. They've also announced I announced this before when they did their first commerce thing, a commerce API, so that these apps will be able to monetize their activity within ChatGPT. And Ashish, I see, is saying, which was going to be my next comment, is so OpenAI is now becoming a platform like the iPhone, is the way to think about it, or an Android phone, where you can have all these apps that are installed, if you will, on the platform and available for you. So pretty comprehensive announcement, essential reading, I think, for our AI leaders.
Yeah. So essential from Tim. What did you think, Ankash?
Oh, and there's one more thing. There was so much here I forgot. The chat kit is really quite interesting, which is the ability to build very simply a chatbot into any agent or application or whatever you want. I think this is a resource that has been sorely missing And I've come across it a number of times where I've been working with people who have some sort of visual that they've before, like a Tableau or a Power BI, and they want to add a chatbot, and it's just not that easy. So this is, in theory, a way to do that, which I think will be quite powerful.
Yeah, so Ankash, if you can scroll down to the graphic representation of the agent kit that essentially, as Tim said, has an agent builder, connector registry, and a chat kit. And it's a pretty simple structure, but really powerful. Yeah, and Ankash, tell us what you think. It's a little bit.
There's also fine tuning, which I forgot about. There's just a million things in here, so you're going to have to read through it if you want to get everything. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Ankash, what did you think?
Definitely an essential news, Luda, for all the things that Tim mentioned. I think in addition to these two major themes, that is Agent Kit and apps availability in ChatGPT, they have also introduced API access to Sora and then GPT-5 Pro as well. And the Sora access is $0.1 per second. So that's quite cheap, I would say. So overall, I think it's a big platform play for OpenAI, and we will soon see them competing maybe with Apple's platform and Android as well. So yeah, essential news.
Essential news. Paul?
Yeah, clearly essential. I mean, I agree with everything it said. I mean, this whole notion that OpenAI is just a chatbot product company is so derogatory. It's obnoxious. I mean, they have a $500 billion private valuation now, higher than SpaceX. They are executing like crazy. It's breathtaking, their ambition, and they have been backing it up year after year after year. And we're looking at a company here that's going to have a profound impact on enterprises within the next year. And I think what's really important for AI leaders to understand these Swiss Army knives of a Gemini or an OpenAI just continue to expand so rapidly that it's really important to stay in one and learn. We have multiple companies now who are big ChatGPT users who are trying to figure out, do I also need to buy licenses for Replit and N8N and others? And as these roadmaps continue to roll out, they really need to consider the pros and cons of that. But a breathtakingly expansive announcement.
Yes, and they're doing it really smartly. Like this particular agent kit, they've been testing it with companies like Canva and Ramp and various, a number of customers, and they announce which ones will be integrated as well into the apps. So it's a product announcement, all right, but it has been tested with companies like HubSpot and Canva.
Well, and I'd say it's slightly different. It's kind of customer-led roadmap growth,
right.
Smart brain, and I know what the market wants better than anyone else, and that's really clever. It's much closer to the AWS model, and kudos for them doing it right.
Well said. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's. This is essential as an agent kit. The next one is apps, and let's spend a minute on that because it's also pretty sweeping. Ankash, if you could introduce it, please.
Sure, Luda. So the next one is about their ChatGPT and new apps SDK. So basically, you can create or connect any of your apps to ChatGPT, and users can use those apps within ChatGPT.
Right, and they're rolling it out with like the whole bunch of apps like Bookings, Canva, Coursera, Expedia, Figma, Spotify, Zillow that are already integrated, and then they show a whole bunch of other apps that will be integrated shortly, like Target, Uber, TripAdvisor, and the like, all B2C apps, but they are thinking of opening or they're telling us that they will open a store to evaluate the apps and integrate them into and rate them and monetize, allow ability to monetize. So should we rate this separately, Tim?
We can. I would rate this essential as well. I mean, it is mentioned as part of the other announcement, and then they made this separate announcement because this is more, at least immediately aimed at consumers, the part that you can just converse with directly in ChatGPT. And I think you've told most of the story. You can just converse. You can say, make me a playlist using Spotify. In fact, I think it's clever enough that we'll even try and figure out which tool to use. So, find me homes in, Southern California between San Diego and LA near the ocean, yada, yada, yada. And it will just say, oh, well, I should use Zillow for that. And it will start doing things for you. So that's the basic idea. Again, brilliant business strategy as far as I'm concerned, because this is the real threat to Google Chrome right
Yeah.
here. So they are just saying, we're going to become the browser, the next browser. It's not going to be a browser. It's just going to be OpenAI. And you can sort of already see a precursor to this with Comet, which is the browser that Perplexity built. They want to become the primary interface to the end user, which is the strategic spot to be. They're already there to a certain extent, so now they're trying to cement it and leverage it by saying, okay, the only way we can lose people at this point is when they want to do other things. So we're just going to make as many of those other things available in here as we can.
And Tim, we've seen this playbook. I mean, we saw it with Slack. I mean, I know many developers now who barely go in email now because Slack is their communication interface here. So
Yep.
a new interface in front of a high volume thing is certainly been done before.
Yeah, and they have an app on Perplexity. Their user base is way higher. So we'll see what happens. But this is a sweeping announcement as well. Okay, so essential, this is. Ankash, anything to add?
Yes, Luda. So I think we have been talking about answer engine optimization for some time now. So this apps and ChatGPT play, this makes that answer engine optimization all the more important now for every app developer as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Ankash. Okay, essential it is. This is exciting. We'll see what happens because it's really becoming an operating system and a platform, as Ashish was saying. Absolutely. Okay, let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one comes from Financial Times, and it talks about how Deloitte is now issuing refund for error-ridden Australian government report that used AI.
Yeah, I was not sure whether to go optional or essential on this one. It's another signal that you have to really validate and verify what you are delivering. It sounds like Deloitte did not. Um, the Australian government, especially Department of Employment and Workplace Relations, asked Deloitte to do independent assurance review. That's why it made it even worse, to assess what were the problems with the welfare system that that reportedly was automatically penalizing job seekers. And Deloitte delivered a report that had a number of citations that were not right, responses to papers that were not there, and so it was resolved by Deloitte paying back to the government the last tranche of the 290K. So it's a good warning signal. Pay attention. So it can be optional or essential. I think it's optional. It's well known to do this now. So that's where I am. What did you think about this, Paul?
I had as essential. I think they should. I mean, one, this is $250,000, so this is material. Two, they absolutely should be publicly, you know, flogged for this. I mean, they're spending $1 billion. They just did a major announcement with Claude. They're advising all these companies, telling them they're exemplars. And this is not 2023. And this is not the lawyer who submitted it and got 5,000. This is a major company with 497,000 employees. The companies were Luna on making an absolutely rookie mistake. And so I think from that standpoint, I want the AI leader to know it. I think second is to just reinforce the importance of you have to have not only human in the loop for review, but also human in the loop for ongoing activities here, because there's real downside risk in this here, and shame on these guys.
Totally. And now we have stronger eval systems, right, and metrics to validate the output. So shame on them that they didn't use any of that actually. So I'm okay with Essential, as I said. Tim, what did you think?
Absolutely essential. It's a brief read, and as Paul said, a great reminder. I think I just watched a speech. You've heard John and I talk about Alan Kay a lot, and Alan's a skeptic on this technology, by the way. Not really, actually. I shouldn't say that. He's a realist, is what I would say. And I think the problem that most organizations have culturally, among many, is that we have introduced this as human in the loop. And so the idea there is that we're trying to make the AI smart. And I think we should reverse that. I think that is the fundamental cultural problem. It should be AI in the loop, because we're trying to make the humans smarter. And that was something, that a fellow named Doug Engelbart, who invented a lot of the ideas of modern technology back in the 60s, said a long time ago. They were talking about AI and how smart could AI get? And he said, well, why don't we make the humans smarter? And we should never forget that. Really, this should be aimed at making the humans smarter, not necessarily. The robots will get smarter, and that's great, but we want to make the humans smarter at the end of the day. And the problem is when we get this idea that humans are in the loop just as a check, the humans just become a little semicolon at the end of the sentence. They're not really important, and that's what happens when you do that. Absolutely, you're going to get these kind of things to happen all the time culturally, because the robots are supposed to do the job and the humans are just supposed to sit back and watch football.
Yeah. Nina also is talking about human at the helm, and she's also mentions that BCG case was reported by Financial Times this summer. So this is the second in the series, essentially, of this type of rookie mistakes, if you will. Okay, so Ankaj, we're going Essential.
Essential it is, Luda. Yeah.
Okay, Essential it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one comes from Google DeepMind, and it is titled Introducing CodeMender, an AI agent for code security.
Yes, Ankaj, if you could please summarize and review it for us, would be good.
Sure, Luda. So basically, CodeMender is a new AI agent which DeepMind has built to automatically detect and fix security vulnerabilities. So it works two ways. It works reactively, where it patches new bugs, and also proactively, where it rewrites existing code to make it better. They are using the DeepThink model from Google DeepMind to run this, and they are using a variety of other techniques as well. It's still in research phase. They are testing it out with open source repositories. So while an interesting development, I think optional for the AI leader right now.
Okay. Optional from Ankaj. Tim, where were you on this?
Yeah, I was between optional and important. It's an interesting thing. I'm feeling snarky today. There's an old saying in science that it's better to work badly on a good problem than well on a bad problem. So to a certain extent, this is working well on a bad problem, because what you're doing is saying, I'm just going to fix all the terrible code that's out there and keep fixing it and keep fixing it. Meanwhile, I've got this other engine that's just generating terrible code all the time. So this is one of those, wow, why are we doing this? And maybe we should think about what good code is and generate good code from the start, and then we could fix that code in the right way. So then they say they improve the code, but from what little I saw, I don't think they're improving the code. They're just removing egregious errors and making it functional. The other thing is code is so interconnected that it's not clear that without a view of a much, much larger part of the system, they aren't simply generating problems elsewhere.
Yes.
And they have a conflict of interest because they like to generate problems, because then they have to fix them.
Yeah, I think it's a very snarky approach here. Okay, so what did you think about this, Paul?
Can we? I love the snarks coming back in the show. We've had a few weeks with a lot of snark here, so I don't want to top the snark, but I agree with Tim.
Okay, so going important here, I think, Paul. Agree with that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I actually agree. This is an important step in the software evaluation and how do you fix the problems and generate less problems loop. So important it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
And we got the concept called work slop, and we kind of need code slop as the other slopping it up.
Well, we already have plenty of that.
Yeah.
Plenty of that. But what is interesting is the complexity of what they're fixing. As I was reading this article and thinking about the complexity of these agent systems that we're now building and fixing them, I don't know whether I would I would let the automated fixer go and fix them without much review. So it's still very, I think, researchy of what's happening, but it's an important development. Okay, let's proceed, Ankash. So this one is important.
Sure, Luda. So the next one is a case study from OpenAI. It is titled Converting Inbound Leads into Customers at OpenAI.
Yeah, it's a great case study. I rated it important. It like in our definition of good case studies, it's a problem, how you did it and what the results are. The how you did it is missing here. The results are here. And it's so what OpenAI is talking about, they get a lot of inbound leads in various ways, and they actually focused on converting them into customers by introducing a chat, essentially a bot that that personalizes responses to those requests, and they showed quite a bit of uptick in accuracy and personalization and conversion. So it's a great use case. That's why I put it as important. It showcases a couple of things. One, that they put evals into action, and they put a lot of personalization into action. And that's what made it happen to 98% accuracy and good conversion that they don't state here. What did you think about this, Ankash?
Important for me as well, Luda. I think it it's a great case study of how to turn your inbound leads into customers. But as you mentioned, the outcomes are there, but the how part of it is missing. We are so used to AWS case studies now detailing how they did it, that anything that comes out which doesn't have those details sort of feels like that it's missing something. So I think a great case study which sales team can use to turn to understand how they can turn their inbound leads into customers. But yeah, certainly details of how are missing. So maybe not essential, but important.
Tim, what did you think?
Yeah, important at best for me. But I think it is important because it is well laid out as a case study. This is one that's right in the heart of the case studies we've been reading out for well over a year. You could think of this as a combination of customer support and sales support, and those are two of the biggest early use cases. So there's nothing all that surprising here. And while they talked about accuracy and broadly about results, they didn't talk about economic impact either, which was too bad. It would be interesting to see, okay, well, how much incremental revenue, some measure quantitatively that says at the end of the day, it was worth what we spent. And of course, as you've already referred to, they didn't tell us what they spent or how they built it. So there's some important pieces missing, but it's a better case study than we have seen in the past, I will say, from OpenAI. And it's good for them to show that they are using their own tools in their own processes. I think that's an important street cred issue for them.
Yeah. Paul, what was your opinion?
Yeah, I'm important, maybe even optional. I mean, I'm very bullish on the sales and marketing front. I'm also very skeptical on vendors who sell AI software doing case studies and how their AI software helps sales leads. We saw this a few days ago with another vendor. Important's good enough. It's a major vendor. AI leaders need to understand the top line trends on this, and this fits into that category.
Okay. Important it is. Let's proceed to the next one. Ankash? You're on mute, I think.
Yeah, sorry about that. So this one comes from Iconic Capital, and it talks about the state of software in 2025.
Yes. This has a bigger report, but this is a summary. And Tim, what did you think about this particular? It is one of the reports that this company produces periodically. This is the latest one.
Yeah, honestly, I give this an optional. I could be arm twisted into important because there's some good data in here, and it's sort of reasonably well written. But I don't from a planning perspective and a decision perspective for an AI leader, I'm not sure what you do with this. The valuation stuff is for investors to a certain extent, and I could argue that till the cows come home. There's an old saying in investment that raging bull markets make geniuses out of a lot of people. So whether and we're in a raging bull market in the United States right now. So whether these software companies that they say are suddenly recovering are really recovering because of AI or just being swept up because there's a raging bull market going on is impossible to tell from the outside. So I think, I'm sort of optional on this one. It's okay if you've got the time to read it and it has some interesting statistics. They're breathlessly, as Paul likes to say, breathtakingly excited about AI and the potential for completely changing systems. And we have already got this discussion of AI native companies versus non-AI native companies. And I would just point out that Google, Microsoft, Facebook are not native AI companies, seem to be doing okay. So I think these dichotomies are somewhat artificial and based on marketing the current AI hype.
Yeah.
And I noticed that Valda said, there's a potential bubble going on, and there is. I think there is. There always, John talks about it as well. It's a necessary bubble because you don't know what to invest in the early stages. But there's a lot of hype out there. That is for sure.
Yeah. So I was also on the optional, even though that's very interesting data. But yeah, what did you think, Ankash?
Option for me as well, Luda. I think all the data here is important for investors and maybe AI startups as well. But overall, for enterprise AI leader, this might not be useful. So optional.
Okay, going optional, Paul. Okay.
Yeah, definitely optional. And just to tag on to the bubble thing here, I also find it not useful for AI leaders. I mean, Toys R Us, oh my gosh, we're an internet bubble. Well, the bubble completely ran over them with Amazon. So there's some areas where who cares if it's a bubble or not? If you got a freight train coming at you, you're getting completely run over. And that's the more important thing for AI leaders.
Yeah. Okay, let's proceed to the next one. Optional, this one. Okay.
Okay, the last one is a research paper from NVIDIA. It is titled Front Loading Reasoning, the synergy between pre-training and post-training data.
Yes, it's front loading a lot of wisdom in training rather than feeding it later on. What did you think about this, Ankash?
So, Luda, this paper essentially talks about how AI models learn to reason and also asks questions about when should the reasoning examples be added during training? Should they be added during the pre-training part of it or during the fine-tuning part? What they realize is that during pre-training, what matters is the diversity of the reasoning content that you are feeding the model. So you should give a lot of different types of reasoning examples at the pre-training stage, and during the fine-tuning stage quality is what matters. So during fine-tuning, more of carefully chosen high level reasoning tasks should be given to models, and that way is the model perform the best. So I think this is an optional research paper right now. The concept, I think, is important to understand, but it's a long research paper, so maybe optional for the AI leader right now.
Yeah, I also felt optional. We're kind of running out of time. Anything, if you disagree with optional, Paul, Tim? Okay, optional it is. Let's proceed to the wrap up. Paul, you can have 30 seconds for any announcements.
Yeah, so 3 announcements. We had a really good learning lab last night on 2 things. One is a case study on Harvard Business School using custom GPTs. And Tim and I and others are really doing some research around this 20 documents, the max you can upload on custom GPTs and OpenAI appears it is. And second is today we're kicking off our free training, weekly training on Copilot and ChatGPT. So every Tuesday at noon, starting today, we have free Copilot training. Go to our website, and every Thursday at 11 a.m. So this is for people who work at companies. It's not for educators. It's not for consumers. But if you work at a company and want to learn how to use these wonderful tools, sign up for free training today.
Wonderful. Great. So for today, we have 3 essentials. Whoa! 2 importance and 2 optionals. Thank you. We didn't address some of the comments from Valda Shish. There was a discussion about the bubbles and how LLMs eating up startups and what's left and how it becomes a platform. Great discussion. Thank you for participating, but we didn't have time to really put it in. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.